Out of every Disney movie I've ever seen, I found Frozen 2 to be the deepest and most valuable one out of them all. This movie was able to extract some of the most valuable life lessons in many of the Disney tales into one beautiful story. My goal in this post is to try to unpack the most profound of these lessons, particularly through the case of Elsa. After the end of the last movie, Elsa was left in the happily ever after motif that Disney likes to use so often. Yet Elsa just wasn't truly happy. She is put into the position our society knows all too well. She has all that she's ever wanted, yet something is missing. It's impossible for her to put an exact finger on it, yet her life was clearly not the life that she was meant to have. The solution to this problem is one that is self-evident, but needs to be expressed. She needed to undergo a transformation. Just like the snake who was due to outgrow his previous skin, Elsa must shed her old form and grow out of her less fulfilling life. According to Joseph Campbell, this is the story of the hero. Quote, "The familiar life horizon has been outgrown. The old concepts, ideals, and emotional patterns no longer fit. The time for the passing of a threshold is at hand." The perfect method of doing this is through the hero's journey. She then hears a mystical voice from the north, accepts her role as the hero, and then takes her journey into the enchanted forest. I don't want to bore you with the details, so let's skip to the best part. The greatest scenes of this movie take place near the end, where Elsa must venture across the dark sea to find Altohollan, or in more applicable terms, to find herself. The symbols are everywhere, and they were devised perfectly to show Elsa is on a journey to find her true identity, the state that will allow her to transcend her human consciousness and be one with her true self. First, she must cross the dark sea to make it to Altohollan. This is a representation of her going deeper into her own self. The descent into the ocean is a classic metaphor of going into the unconscious. This makes sense since both are mystical and deep, and we humans have barely explored either. Darkness, meanwhile, is also symbolic of the venture into the unknown, because we humans naturally are unafraid of the unpredictability of darkness. Therefore, the dark sea is like the double unknown, making it the deepest part of our psyche. To make this trek into the deepest part of herself, her personal dark sea, she must pass the protector of the unconscious, the mystical Nock. According to Disney's press release, this water horse is known as a mythical water spirit that takes the form of a horse and uses the power of the ocean to guard the secrets of the forest. And wow, doesn't it put up a fight? Knocking Elsa around like a beach ball, the Nock guards those secrets with passion and fury. This creature makes sure that Elsa is in fact worthy, because not everyone is strong enough to make it to this higher level of consciousness. In fact, this was assumedly the place where Elsa's parents died and they couldn't make it through the Dark Sea, since the ship was found wrecked after attempting to maneuver through that Dark Sea. Then, the Nock appears and pushes Elsa deeper and deeper into the bottom of the ocean, deeper into the darkness below the surface. Pinned by this creature, Elsa has received her biggest challenge in the entire movie series, with her life on the line. Elsa, who has been preparing for this moment her entire life, challenges the Nock with her powers and makes it back to the surface. You could find incredibly similar imagery in various other known films, particularly the imagery of the belly of the whale. Both the Nock and the whale are part of the same archetype. They are the embodiment of the mysteriousness and dangerous nature of the unconscious. In Finding Nemo and Pinocchio, for example, the main characters are swallowed by a whale, brought to the belly of the beast, you might say, and find their way out. This is the life or death moment where the characters either thrive or fall apart. After a battle with the horse, Elsa chooses not to defeat the horse, but to control it. In one heaping motion, she creates a rein, similar to a lasso, whips it around the horse's mouth, and hops on its back. Psychologically, this is a powerful lesson in itself. Elsa chooses to work with, rather than battle or run away from her own unconscious thoughts. In this case, we could say it represents the memory of the death of her parents in the same ocean. If you look at a story like The Lion King, Simba chooses the opposite route. After the death of his father, he decides to run away from his kingdom and run away from his problems. Elsa instead chooses to embrace her feelings, which is symbolized by the control of the Nock. After some resistance, the Nock accepts its quote-unquote defeat, and in turn carries Elsa to Altohollan. She is finally ready to venture in the depths of herself. Altohollan is a symbol for Elsa's true self, and for that to be done, it can't be one cookie-cutter, formulaic place that is the same for all. It must be unique and customized for Elsa. Therefore, Altohollan was a glacier, which is customized to Elsa's ice powers. This river of ice is said by her mother to be the source of her powers, and that makes sense because her powers must come from something larger and greater than her own self, and the glacier is a perfect way to exemplify that. There, she sings the song Show Yourself, trying to track down the voice who has been calling her from the beginning. Throughout the song, she's interacting with the voice and is in harmony with it. She embraces it and follows the voice to the inner workings of the glacier. In her introspective experience, she's traveling throughout her own personal core. Then, upon the arrival, she finds the four elements of nature fire, air, water, and earth in alignment with one another, all pointing towards one spot right in the center. This spot is the symbol of the fifth spirit, the unity between nature and her consciousness, or the unity between nature and her own human element. Elsa will finally take her place in nature, her nature, and become one with herself. This imagery is incredibly powerful. What's happening here is that she has ventured into the depths of herself, and in that introspective process, she has found her true identity. Before, her judgment was clouded by the demands of the world, being a queen, spending time with her family, playing charades, but now she has been able to consciously realize her own motivations and what makes her fulfilled. That is the meaning behind this whole journey. Immediately, the entire room lights up and her dress begins to change. The spirits of the four elements of nature rise out of the floor and integrate themselves into her new dress, a symbol that she is now part of nature and nature is part of her. They are now one. What is her nature, you might ask? What did she find? When I claim that she has found her identity, I don't mean it in a general sense. She actually has found her identity. Because in her venture to Altohollan, she found something even more profound. After uniting with nature, she hears the voice just one more time, and now it is coming from her mother, who we realize has been calling her the entire time. What does this mean? Why should she see her mother in the depths of herself? The answer is a profound one that is mirrored in The Lion King and Star Wars. You see, in her own life, Elsa's mother failed to unite the Northuldrans and the Arendalians, considering that they are at war at the time of her death. Elsa, in her journey into herself, found her true purpose, to finally bring peace to the forest after years of unrest. In other words, she must finish her mother's mission. Isn't this also true in our own lives? Don't we wish that we could take the lessons learned from our parents and our role models and go beyond them? If our parents were the middle class, don't we want to be upper class? If our parents were ignorant, don't we want to be enlightened? If they were a little fulfilled, don't we want to be more fulfilled? That's exactly what Elsa is doing here. She's taking her parents' unfinished goals and completing them, thereby striving to go further than they have gone. You could see this mirrored in The Lion King, because that's exactly what the circle of life is all about. It realizes that each of us are not enough to solve all the problems in the world. By the same token, each generation is not enough to achieve all of human progress. Therefore, it is the job of one generation, aka every set of parents, to pass on the progress to their children. That's exactly what you see in The Lion King, when Mufasa, who has been unable to control the shadowy parts of his own kingdom, which is signified by being killed by Scar, Simba is the one who eventually takes down Scar and controls the part that his father was never able to do. That's what Elsa's mother is symbolized for Elsa, and now she has found her life purpose. Clearly, this movie is not just about a girl who sings songs and travels to a place up north. It's a story of ourselves, the person that we can be if we decide to embark on our own hero's journey and search deeper into our own selves. It's the story of the fulfillment that comes when we decide to venture into the unknown and venture outside of our kingdom. Elsa is a metaphor for you, yes, you, and your journey awaits. Now it's your turn. Go find your Altohollan.